Join our global community of travel lovers at zerototravel.com. Zero to Travel Audio Adventures presents Trekking Nepal. Episode 15, Electricity. In this episode, as we are coming to the end, we review our trek, think about what we could have done differently, and talk about the total cost of the trip.
It's November 5th, day 12, and we started the day in Yagat and arrived in Machikola, which is basically civilization, right? It's basically civilization, as we quote-unquote say civilization, because even though we're one day walking from Aragat, they have, we're in, an outdoor area. It's, there's, lights, and you can plug there's shops around. You can plug things in our room and charge things. And we're out of the small villages, so it's kind of even though we have the whole day to walk tomorrow, it feels like almost the trek is kind of over as far as being in special little villages and having to find a place to brush your teeth and having to find water. And we've kind of got the luxuries of this resort. It's what it's called. It's still a budget hotel.
We have a bathroom in our room.
Yeah, we're not sure if we can use it.
It looks a little crap.
Doesn't look like we can use it, but the squat toilet's clean, and it always comes back to the toilets. No, but we're back in civilization. Just one day left on the trek. We're back away from the small villages and back in a bigger area. And how do you feel? How does that make you feel?
Kind of miss have to go outside and find the village water place to brush my teeth and wash my hands, but now we actually have a sink and mirrors, and I'm kind of looking forward to, now that the trip is coming to an end, to get off the track a little bit, but I miss the Tibetan villages up in the mountains where you could see the mountains. It was cold, but no bugs. Here it bugs. And it's very crowded. It's a lot of people drinking beer, and I guess most of these people are actually going back down. Yeah, I know. I guess I'm kind of ready to go back to Kathmandu because we know that we're going there. The only thing I'm not looking forward to is the night in Aragat, if we have to stay at the same place. And second is the jeep ride or bus ride back to Kathmandu.
I was tired on the trail today and not feeling at all good this morning again with my back, but and the trail was very rocky in the beginning of the day, first half of the day, so it was a little tough going. But when all's said and done, I'm with you. The fact that we're close to Kathmandu now, it's when you get to the end of something, you're a little bit ready for it because you have to be, because it's ending. But when I think about the smaller villages, and it's like you said, specifically the Tibetan Buddhist villages up higher, they're so special, and I really could have hung out there for probably weeks and just...
If we had an oven.
If we had an oven?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was cold.
Oh, yeah, you were
that.
cold.
Oh, we tried
a
Tibetan bread last night in Yagat. That was not good.
Not the same as in the Tibetan.
To do it. Yeah. No. And I got shoes today. I got my new Love Rose shoes.
Awesome flip-flops for $3.
Yeah.
Probably overpaid by 50 cents, but...
whatever.
We let it slide.
Yeah.
I'm sad. We've had an amazing experience trekking through Nepal and spent so much quality time together and learned so much about the people and the places and the villages with our guide Samir. And looking around and seeing a lot of groups of people drinking beer, hanging out. It's just kind of you're back in the city almost, and these villages are so special and unique. It's really hard to put into words. Tired. We're not hungry. The food's better down here.
Oh yeah, the lunch in Tatopani today was awful.
Yeah, it wasn't
I
good.
almost threw up. Yeah, we shouldn't complain because it is actually one of the poorest countries in the world. So we have full stomachs every day. We have 3 meals a day. We're not starving at all.
Yeah, we talked about this a little on the trail yesterday, and I want to ask you what you got out of Nepal.
Yeah.
I think Nepal gives more to us than we could ever give to her.
What I did get out of the trip, it will change me forever to have done it. Just being in Nepal have changed me forever.
How?
In the way that travel in general change you forever, in a way, because you get new perspective of things, you meet people, you see other cultures, you see, and Nepal is also like with this trek, you have this beautiful nature and massive nature that you have so much respect for. Maybe also because like before the trip, the blizzard happened, and we love mountains too. I come from a mountain area. You live, or Boulder is in a mountain area. Colorado is a mountain area, and having the respect for the nature, and I think especially in Himalaya, it's like so extremely massive, and also seeing these people that I think in the Western world we are getting we try to be like a part of nature, but we are at the same time detaching us from it. But in Nepal, people are living in it and with it, which is something I would like to do more myself. I think it's important that everyone are more respectful for nature and what we do to it. And I think the Nepalese people have a very high respect, especially those that lives up in the mountains and in the valleys, that they live out of it and with it and have a very high respect of it. That's something that is good to see. And I think like that we that have like all this stuff around us, material stuff all the time that we think we need, we don't need it. That's something that we can learn from.
Yeah, I think going off that, it's like you can have those material things, but the awareness that you don't need them or the detachment from it is important. And of course, we're saying this under the context of we are very fortunate to have the basic necessities of life. You know, we have a roof over our head, we can be warm, we can get hot water, we can turn on the heat. So we're extremely fortunate. We're not discounting any of that.
No.
In fact, it's quite the opposite. Being in these villages in Nepal makes you appreciate
what you have a lot more.
Yeah. And anything you learned about yourself in particular that you can share?
No, maybe that I'm a mountain girl. I knew that from before, but like how much I really love the mountains. We were talking about it like, well, we could have like gone somewhere totally else. We could have gone to a beach, and just had like a vacation on the beach. But we were talking about it. I guess sometimes we were like, why didn't we go to a beach? But not really. We didn't. We really truly loved her.
Only when you were really cold and taking a cold shower at
and dropped
a
her
very high altitude.
Underwear and like beside the toilet area with a cold shower. But anyway, I really enjoy using my body and also that you have to work a little bit to get to the good places. You have to work for it. You have to walk. You have to use your body. It's a value in that you have to sweat a little bit instead of getting
margaritas delivered to your lounge chair.
Exactly. and I enjoy that. I enjoy working for it. It feels so much better.
Anne Dorthe reminded me of a funny story I'll tell really quickly. We were in a village and I hadn't showered for many days. Well, we actually sort of showered when we went to the town a little bit early on that has a hot spring. Part of the water that runs this very small village is a hot spring, and you can kind of get in there and clean off. And it's a place
that's lower down.
That was lower down. So then it had been many days, I don't know how long, since I had showered. And we had stayed at a place where supposedly they had a little hot water and you could take a shower, and then there wasn't going to be anything the rest of the time. So I was like, I think I'm going to take a shower, which is a little bit of an effort, I guess. You know, you got to kind of get your stuff ready, and then you have to walk to the shower, and that's a cold experience. Anyway, I had like one clean pair of underwear I think I was saving for this, and I got all ready and I went out into the courtyard outside because the hotel or the guest house, the tea house we were staying at was like had a courtyard. And so I walked across that. There were some people there eating lunch and just whatever. And I went in to take a shower, and I'm like, all right, awesome. I'm going to hang my towel up and hang my clean underwear up here. And it was like a shower right next to a toilet, and it was pretty dirty and pretty gross, but I was still excited. So anyway, I'm standing there naked, shivering, freezing, because it's not indoor really. It's indoor, but you're outdoors.
It's
basically.
airy.
Yeah. And I turn the faucet and no water comes out, I believe, nothing. And I'm standing there and I'm fiddling around with it and nothing's happening. So then I have to go get somebody and bring them back, and they say, oh, you can't take a shower right now because I think the water had been, frozen. It froze, so they needed to wait to thaw it. And I think that involved lighting a fire underneath the thing and waiting a long time or something. So I wasn't going to take a shower, but we've been trekking for a while. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And no big deal. And so I went back in to get my stuff. I don't remember when exactly it happened, but then my only clean pair of underwear fell down on the ground right next to the toilet in some muddy, dirty water that was most likely a mix of piss and old shower water and grossness. And I didn't break at all, actually. I think, at that point, I think that's something that trekking can teach you.
Oh, you were really, really mad.
Was I? I don't remember.
Oh, you were so mad.
Oh, God. Well, I didn't break for me. I could have been worse, I guess.
You came into the room and bitched for, 2 hours probably.
I must have blocked that part out.
Yeah, you were so mad and upset because I took a shower before you.
Oh, I wasn't mad about that.
So you were blaming me for using up
No, I wasn't. I said I was glad that you took a shower.
Yeah. In the sarcastic way.
Oh, yeah, but you did. That's right. Oh, my God. I totally forgot. You used up all the hot water.
No, I didn't. I didn't shower for long, but I also dropped my towel, actually.
You didn't shower for long, my ass.
No, I didn't. But you were not happy and you were bitching for a long time.
So long story short, Anne Dorthe used up all the hot water and then I didn't get any. She was gone for like an hour. All right, let me paint this picture a little bit more before we...
Yeah, right.
She was gone for a while. Then she came back and...
Not an hour.
Okay, fine, not an hour, but she was gone for a while and she came back and I was very happy for her and I wasn't going to go in front of her anyway. So that's ridiculous. But of course she goes, she does her thing. And she comes back and she's just ranting and raving. Oh, so good. It's so good to be clean. She's combing her hair. She smells pretty. Oh, it's so good. It just feels so
I didn't
great.
Rub it in that way.
It was going on and on about how great it was. At this time, of course, you didn't know that I wasn't going to get a shower. You were just expressing yourself. But now it's all coming back. In the context of all that, getting pumped up about how good it is, and then she actually inspired me to shower because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go do it because that just sounds so good. And then the letdown of not being able to do it, and then coming back to you rubbing lotions on your body and being all clean, and I'm like, oh, I hope you enjoyed your shower because I didn't get one. So that's right.
I was not in there for an hour, that's for sure.
Oh man, that's funny. Anyway, it takes a long time to remember
Jason
these.
used longer time in the bathroom.
This
than
is
me,
why it's good to have
in general.
This is why it's good to have a travel companion, because then they remember things that you don't, and vice versa.
We were really glad that we chose the Manaslu track. I'm sure I want to do other tracks in the Himalayas too, but I was very happy with the Manaslu. It was the perfect amount of other people, and it was great in the way that you didn't feel like you were walking beside a road that some of the others we've heard about is. And it's still like that feeling like it's not so developed yet, that it's very authentic. So you get a peek into people's daily life, and and the scenery is of course beautiful. It's a good. I highly recommend it, and it's a track that is, I guess they call it or they grade it as a moderate hard track. So it challenges you too. So that's always fun, I think. So yeah, I'm very happy about it. I don't know about you. I think
Yeah,
so.
I'm thrilled that we did it because, again, our first time trekking there, there's some infrastructure, but it's not overdeveloped like we've heard Annapurna and Everest Base Camp is. Of course, Everest is so iconic. You've read books like Into Thin Air. You hear about Everest your whole life. So the idea of hiking to base camp and seeing that and experiencing that whole scene is a sexy idea for sure, and it's something I would like to do someday. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's not beautiful and that it's something that I don't want to do. But yeah, I think Manaslu was a good blend of exactly what we wanted, which was something that's established and there's some infrastructure, but it's not overdeveloped, it's not overcrowded, it's still an up-and-coming trek. We've heard some other treks that are maybe up and coming but not as popular, like I think Langtang. Different treks have different things to offer. One thing I would add is we met multiple people along the trail at the tea houses we were staying at in the guest houses that had been to Nepal before. So unanimously, I would say it seems that everybody that had been there, whether if it was their first trek, they were already talking about how they wanted to come back and do more, or they had already been trekking there before and they were on the Manaslu Trail doing another trek because this is the thing they come back and do, and they want to try different treks. So it's one of those places, Nepal, that's very special, and trekking there is such a special thing that you do, I feel, want to go back. And I certainly would love to go back and do some different trekking in some different areas to see what those areas are like, to experience more of those beautiful, varied Himalayan mountain views, and just get out into the wilderness, into the villages in Nepal and different areas.
We're happy that we didn't plan out the track too much beforehand.
Okay, so there's, I think, a spectrum for people when it comes to travel. And on one side, you have people that plan every last detail imaginable. And then you have the other side of the spectrum, which is people that don't make any plans at all. We probably we don't fall into the not making any plans at all side, but we definitely fall on that side of the spectrum.
Yeah. We couldn't really, we were reading about different tracks and we couldn't really agree on which one to do. So we did plan in that way. But then we didn't have a solid plan. So what we knew was that we were flying into Kathmandu, and from there we would decide kind of. But then things decided a little bit for us, because just 1 week before we were supposed to leave Norway to go to Nepal, the big avalanche in the Himalayas happened. And the Annapurna circuit got closed anyway. And also up to Mount Everest
And there were many tourists killed.
Yeah, and a lot of people got killed. When we got to Kathmandu, then we got the information that the Annapurna Circus was anyway closed. So it wasn't an option to go there. And also, like, we met some other trackers, and they were like, oh, you didn't plan anything? Like, how could you do? Like, how could you? Yeah, they were surprised that we would go. Like, they had, like, planned so long in forehand, booked everything. Mm-hmm. We got there. We went to different travel agency to ask around for, like, prices and where to go and all that. When we did that in Kathmandu, and we were so little planned that we got there when it was one of the biggest festivals during the year. So basically everything was going to be closed down. And we also got the information that you probably can't leave anywhere in a couple of days because it's a festival. So we were like, oh, okay, this means that we should have planned more. We should have read a little bit more. So that was a lesson, kind of. But at the same time, everything turned out perfectly.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have planned more. No, exactly. Right. But it's like, it was a little lesson that maybe it would be good. And also, but price, like, I don't know really the price.
I think you always save money when you get it on the ground as opposed to going through an agency because they're putting their charges on unless you're working locally with an agency before you come. But most people, I mean, I would say 9.5 times out of 10, that's not statistically proven. But if you buy a package for something like this from home, you're going to pay way more than you do when you arrive. So if you're going to arrive and not be planned out like we were, then you want to leave a buffer for the unexpected, like festivals that shut down the town for a couple days, or not being able to find the right agency or guide, or just needing, there are a lot of logistics that need to work out. So you just build in the time.
Normally things are working out. Like, we feel like we got the best guide and the porter we could imagine, and also, like, that we ended up with the Manaslu. We had, like, a feeling about the Manaslu before we left, but we weren't sure. But it turned out to be exactly what we wanted. So you need to, like, feel what is best for you. If you need to have control and need to be very planned out, then do that. But also have faith that things are working out, even if you don't have planned everything. And also, like, it's fun to not have planned everything because you don't know how it's going to play out. No, exactly.
And part of the adventure is getting there and figuring it out. And that's part of the journey and the travel.
Yeah, and you learn a lot. Like, you meet people and you have to ask around, and maybe you learn something that is smart instead of, like, just getting to a place, get picked up maybe at the airport, and, like, then everything is sold out for you. Like, I think it's fun we both like to do things by ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, and also getting to meet locals during the planning process and everything.
But of course, like, you shouldn't go to Kathmandu and, like, get the first person on the street and that offer you, like...
No, everybody will be offering you treks on the street.
So you should not do that. But you should check up different travel agencies that are... reviewed maybe, or look around. For this example, Kathmandu, we visit different agencies. We went there, talked to them, talked to also different guides, and chose the one we felt most comfortable
ultimately
with.
You're going to be spending maybe weeks with somebody, so you want to make sure that you're with the right person. And we actually turned down another guide that we didn't feel was a good fit. He just seemed too young and inexperienced, and we didn't have the vibe that we had with Samir.
Yeah. And also the language can be, like, you want to have somebody that you can communicate with, especially the guide. The porters, they barely speak English. You can experience that. But the guide, you should be able to communicate with the guide for different reasons. Mostly for learning about... Yeah, like Jason said, we spent 15 days with Samir. If he wasn't able to communicate much with us, the trip would have been totally different. It could have been still good, but it's like...
We learned
very much. And also, like, different challenges we had along the way. I got sick, for example. It was very important that for me at least, I felt more safe that he was actually, he knew the language, and also because of the conditions up in the mountain paths, just knowing that we got enough information about what was the right thing to do.
Well, for Manaslu, you had to have a guide too.
Yeah, that's
true. It was
like,
legally
I mean,
you had to.
We had like others
we would
we
have
talked
anyway.
to,
Yeah.
and they didn't really speak English that good.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's even if it was a sweet person and everything, but
we hit the jackpot with Samir, and also because he was willing to share all about Nepal with you. Obviously, having him, asking him to record so much and to ask him questions that we could record and share with everybody.
It was just good chemistry, and that's like something you can't really get when you book something from your home country. You don't know what you get, but we actually kind of interviewed him and like got to ask questions and talk to him. And felt like a really good chemistry. So the choice was easy. I think that's a good reason to not plan too much beforehand, I would say. Just that.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I wish I had done is to research the cost of the treks on the ground beforehand, and I recommend that you do that if you're arranging your own trek in Nepal. Because I didn't feel like I had firm ground for negotiating, because I didn't really know what that sweet spot was. But you have to keep in mind when you're negotiating for a trek, you're taking a porter, maybe many porters, and guides away from their families and out into the mountains for 2 or 3 weeks at a clip. So they deserve to be paid. And then since we arranged through an agency, and that's how we found Samir, they're going to take their cut. So I negotiated with the guy at the agency, but I don't think I did a good job negotiating, because there were 2 versions he kind of offered us. We could pay a little less and deal with all the money stuff along the way ourselves, where we would pay all the tea houses, pay for our food, settle up the bills at the end. Or we could pay a little more, which was actually, in hindsight, I think it was a lot more, too much more, and have the guide handle everything. And we're like, you know what? I don't even want to look at I just want to be in nature. I don't want to deal with the money or anything like that every day. We'll just let Samir handle it all. And I think Samir would have handled it all anyway, whatever version we took. So I think that was sort of BS. And the guy that did arrange the trek, although he was nice, but he was a business guy, and it was, I don't think we got the best deal, but I wanted to make sure that Samir and Mingmar were taken care of course. So I think we ended up paying about $100 a day, something like that. So it was maybe around $2,000 or something, but then you split that in half, and we're not spending any additional money. So if we're spending $50 each every day while we're traveling, which is a lot in Nepal, but it was kind of a treat. And again, I didn't do the best job negotiating on that, so I think we could have maybe paid 30% less. But this is all all speculation. I don't know. And
then maybe like, because you have to tip the guide and that's optional what you want to give, but that's obviously like at least for our sake that's where you kind of want to spend the money. Mm-hmm. You want to give those that actually have been, and you know that goes to them, or hopefully it goes to their pockets and not to the company's pockets.
We were going to finish our trek on the other side of the pass, then get over to Pokhara by bus, and we left our extra stuff with the agency. They were going to take it to Pokhara for us, where we could collect it after finishing the trek, but now we're going to have to take that insane Jeep ride again from Argot to Kathmandu, and then we can get on the bus to Pokhara after we arrive. Pokhara is a bit different than the rest of Nepal. It's very developed. There are a lot of Western tourists there, so they have a lot of restaurants, some luxury hotels, and we want to go there after the trek just to relax. And also, there are a lot of hikes to do there, plus other outdoor activities if you want to do hang gliding or parasailing. We also want to spend a few days in the historic UNESCO World Heritage Site of Bhaktapur, where there are ancient Buddhist and Hindu temples. Trekking Nepal, coming up in episode 16. This is going to be our final walk.
And it was already dark. And we had the same road back as we came.
Along cliffs that if you look down, I mean, if the driver made one false move or fell asleep for a second, we were dead.
Yeah.
In Pokhara, we had to sort out our visas.
Voices swirling in the air and just filling the temple and spilling out of the temple. This audio adventure series has been brought to you by ZeroToTravel.com. Ideas and advice to help make any of your travel dreams a reality. Join our global community of travel lovers at ZeroToTravel.com. Hey, it's Jason here. If you are enjoying this series, please stop by ZeroToTravel.com/trekking to join our global community of hikers and discover the ultimate resource on trekking worldwide. You'll also learn more about our upcoming authentic small group walking adventures. That's ZeroToTravel.com/trekking.